It's about setting an event-based goal. If you have an event that you're working towards, that's fantastic. If you have a triathlon or a 5K or any kind of event for physical activity that you're working towards, if you're trying to lose weight, just train for a 5K, just start training towards something, and it's actually going to help you get to the gym, because arbitrary goals have arbitrary outcomes.
Absolutely.
You never know when you achieve your outcome because you never set a goal. So remember this. And welcome back to 5 Ideas. I'm your host, Joey Nagel, along with Rich Clay. If you don't know what 5 Ideas is, welcome to the show. You can check out the first episode to learn all about the 5 Ideas, and you can check out our website, 5ideas.co, but I'll save you the whole introduction on this episode because today we're talking about goals and events and why sometimes when you set a goal and don't have an event or a timeline that you're working towards, you can literally just be working towards nothing, and it feels like you're working towards nothing. And so you're working towards nothing and you achieve it every time. Nothing.
Yeah, you reach your goal.
Yeah,
your
goal was nothing.
0, right? Yeah, remember when you came to me?
Yeah.
And said,
a month ago or 2 months ago.
I want to get in the best shape of my life.
Yep.
And what did I say?
He said, you need an event. He's like, if you're just going to the gym, and I was going to the gym kind of consistently, but I was going through a routine. I didn't really have I'm not trying to run faster or farther or anything. I'm just trying to work out for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
But I wasn't working towards anything. And what did you suggest?
Well, events, I suggest all my clients, no matter what it is, whether it's physical improvement, financial improvement, dates, times, accountability. So with Joey, we just said, why don't you do a 5K?
Yeah.
And it's this many months down the road, so now you have to train for it. You have to put in the miles. You have to figure it out. You start to get familiar with a whole different school of people. 5K is not that big a deal, but if you've never done one before, it is.
Yeah.
And the event,
I learned some things.
Yeah, we'll let you. We'll hear about that in just a minute. You did learn some things, but that's part of it too.
Yeah.
To learn some things. So, but what the event does, it just motivates you to stay on track. So you don't, after 3 or 4 days, go, well, not seeing any improvement. I don't know where this is going. And we also included 4 other guys with you.
Yeah.
So now you got peer pressure.
Yep.
How'd that feel?
It actually made training fun, which was really cool, because before, if I'm running on a treadmill pointlessly, it's not fun. And as you know from the habits episode, that if you want a habit, it has to be fun and repeatable. And it made running really fun. And knowing I was running with guys, and I did some training runs with some of the guys that ran it, and it made the whole thing like a sports event.
Yeah.
Like when you're a kid and you're playing sports, it's actually fun. You don't even know you're working out, but you're working out.
Yeah. And you did great, and you finished.
Yeah.
And the goal.
And you're repping the shirt right now.
Yeah.
YMCA Spring Chicken.
And oftentimes the goal is just to finish. It's not to win it. I mean, if you have a goal to win it, great, go for it. But yours was to finish, and I think you ended up taking second place in your age category.
I did.
So it was all good, right? It was all a good event.
It was fantastic. There was some, and this actually is probably deeper than I'm going to make it out to be, but I had a crucial error when I was training for my event. And I didn't even realize it till after the event, but something very, 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 very crucial that I guess wouldn't have ever known until I did the event. And so some things learned, but my watch was not calibrated properly.
Okay.
So I thought I was running a mile when really it was like 0.75 miles.
Whoa.
And so...
And you were training that way?
I was training that way, had no idea. And I'm like, man, I'm doing good. I thought, but I'd never really trained for an actual 5K. So by the time I got to the 5K, it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because I'd never fully trained for it. And when I did complete it, I was actually pretty disappointed because I'd been going against an inaccurate time. But I was disappointed, and I'm like, man, that wasn't that wasn't what I was hoping for. It was actually pretty far off, like 7 minutes off from what I was hoping for. And, you know, whenever you get into something new, there's sometimes a learning curve, and you want to make sure you're accurately learning and whatnot. But then later I thought about it, and I'm like, that was still the fastest I've ever ran, even comparatively to my training.
Wow.
So that really pumped me back up to be like, you know,
It was still a win.
I still hit my goal of getting in the best shape of my life for my heart and like cardiovascular function. I'm like, I've never done that before. I've never ran that far and that fast.
Right.
And I may not be in the best shape of humanity, but I'm in the best shape of my life. And that was my goal. And I had something to train for, an event to train for, and it helped me achieve my goal. Yeah. Even though my goal was to get in the best shape of my life, but my real goal was to run the Spring Chicken 5K. Yeah. And they went hand in hand. And I had a time and a date to be in the best shape of my life, which was huge.
That's great. And we're going to come back to this, but we're going to talk about that. I want to go back to that. I want to talk about watches and bike computers and things that gauge for those you techies that are really into that. But before we do, think of this for a moment. Had you not run that event, right, you would still be calculating on false data.
Yep.
So that event, whenever you do an event, it brings something out. Oh, my shoes weren't the best. My socks were not on right. I didn't have the right hydration. And for a 5K, you can pretty much get away with anything. But if you're going to run a 10K or a half marathon, you know, nutrition, hydration is really, really important.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too, because I'm coming off something very similar. Back in the fall, late fall, and then early this year, I went through 2 surgeries. And so to make sure that I didn't lay around and feel sorry for myself, I scheduled a sprint triathlon at the end of April.
Yes.
And I was cleared to start working out in March. So that gave me 2 complete months to work out. So I went down to Florida, did a sprint triathlon with my son, daughter-in-law. I had a great time. But the point is, I knew I couldn't slack. There can be no slack. I can't sit around and go, well, you know, I just had surgery. I probably should take it easy. Because one of the most important things, really, even after surgery, is you get the blood flowing and the body moving, if you can.
Yep. Doctor recommended.
So what kind of watch do you have?
I have an Apple Watch Series 8, which is technically, comparatively against many watches on the market, supposedly the most accurate, but I had one crucial setting not on, which is motion and calibration. Look it up.
and I'm not promoting that. I would probably have the Apple too, if somebody bought me one. But
hey.
but I have the Garmin Phoenix and I love it. It was actually a gift and I love it. It's fantastic. But here's the point. How much is having that around your wrist? How much has it helped you with your workouts?
It's helped me tremendously because it's motivation. Like I know what I'm actually accomplishing. I've actually burned, you know, it tells me how many calories I'm burning in a day, and that has tremendously shifted. I'm not just going to the gym to throw weights around. I'm going to the gym to burn X amount of calories, because part of my goal right now is to lose weight. That's not some people's goal. Some people's is to gain weight or maintain. But for my current situation of losing weight, it's been tremendous to have it. But it's also been a little bit of a handcuff to on the other side of things of like, if I don't hit what I wanted my goal to be, I feel kind of like a slave to it. Okay. So there's 2 sides. I would say the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about some goals, right? We're talking about goals.
Yeah.
So everyone knows this, that part of setting good goals is to be able to track them.
Absolutely. Actually, this is my home screen. I don't know if that's gonna. I'll hold it close to my face. I don't know if you can see it or not, but my home screen, all it shows me is my calories, my macros, my exercise and then my list of routines for my day, because I actually put tracking my health and fitness goals at the forefront of my phone, but really my life, because I know that if I'm, like Rich said in one of our episodes and in our book, if he's not alive, he's no good for his family. He's no good for the kingdom. He's no good for anything if he's dead. And so he put health and fitness as number one. And I've really, I've done that too. And the only way I've ever been successful is by tracking what I eat, tracking what I do.
Yeah.
You have to know. If you don't know, you don't even know where you are on your goal, like on your goal spectrum,
So, a client will say, I have a goal to get out of debt. Everyone does.
Yeah.
So how are we going to do that, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So when we plan ahead, okay, in 6 months, I want to pay off 3 credit cards. And by the end year, I want to have this paid off, school bill, whatever it is. That's what we're talking about today, about event-based goal setting.
Event-based goal setting.
It's
overlooked.
It is. And anybody can do it. You don't have to go, I'm going to run a marathon or I've never done an Ironman triathlon. I'm going to, but I'm starting small.
Mm-hmm.
So, but event-based is what's going to get me there. Because I've done a sprint, then I'll do an Olympic, and then I'll do a 70.3, and then I'll do the Ironman.
Yep. Incremental.
But it's event-based. So, that's where I am finding people get the most help from, is when they set an event and set a time and they go after that, especially that first one, because then it tells you where you're at. You get a little bit of a baseline.
Yep. And how can you, think back to a time maybe you were saving for a car versus just, some people, maybe sometimes you have a goal, I want 10 grand in the bank account, right? Some people might be really bent towards just saving, and that's really easy. But a lot of people, especially in this consumer economy, it's hard to just save for no reason. But if you're saving for a car, it could be a little easier because that's an event-based goal. And if you're I want to have a car by the summer or by the end of the summer, a lot of people get summer jobs. They save as much as they can. They work hard so they can get that car in the fall when they're going back to school or whatever. What would be one question that just came to my mind? What would actually be an event-based goal for paying off debt? Because that could be arbitrary, I think, but I think that's a huge topic and thought that people have. How could you set a event-based goal for paying off debt? Say I have $20,000 in debt, mm-hmm. and I want to pay it off. If I just say I want to pay off my $20K in debt, that's not an event-based goal, really. It's just kind of I want to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
What kind of event can I set up for myself for paying off debt? Because that's one of the largest problems in America.
It is over and over again, right? And
yeah.
So, and that's a great question. And the answer to that is, what motivates a person? What is the event? Because if the 5K wouldn't have motivated you, you wouldn't have done it.
True.
But it did.
True.
Even though you didn't know what you're getting into, it motivated
True.
you. So what is going to motivate a person, and what type of event is going to motivate them to want to, pay off that debt and work off that debt? And then you go at it. And back to my style of coaching, I'm a firm believer in rewards. Mm-hmm. So you reward and celebrate. So what are you going to do at the end of that event to reward and celebrate yourself? I always have something in mind I'm going to do to reward and celebrate.
Wow.
So let me ask you, what would be a motivating event for you if you were trying to pay off debt?
If I was trying to pay off debt, I would be man, if I could maybe simultaneously while I'm paying off my debt, I'm also building a little vacation fund on the side. Mm-hmm. So when my debt's completely paid off, mm-hmm. we're going on vacation for a week or 2 weeks mm-hmm. to celebrate the freedom of that debt being paid off and paying for the vacation not on debt.
Yes.
So that would be huge. And then you could put that on the calendar. We're going to Disneyland or wherever, California or Hawaii. We're going here on this date, and we need to have our debt paid off, and we need to have a savings account. And based upon the numbers I'm running, we can do it.
Yeah, I like that. And it's the reward system
Yeah.
as well. You built it right in. I love that. Probably what I would do too, I would say as soon as I get this debt paid off, I'm going to reward myself with some type of adventure trip.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do another triathlon. And so I'm at a stage, an age where I reward myself with physical activity because now it helps my health and fitness.
Yeah.
And you know how I am about leveraging
Stacking,
all
habit
5
stacking.
ideas.
Yep.
Does it help there?
Yep, I love it. And what you can really take away from this episode, it's not just about health and fitness. It's not just about money. It's not just about relationships. It's not just about faith and spirituality. It's about setting an event-based goal. If you have an event that you're working towards, a vacation, so you're paying off your debt, I'm working towards this vacation so that I can have money in the bank, not have to worry about, oh man, I'm going to come home to just more and more bills and debt. That's fantastic. If you have a triathlon or a 5K or any kind of event for physical activity that you're working towards, if you're trying to lose weight, just train for a 5K. Just start training towards something, and it's actually going to help you get to the gym, because arbitrary goals have arbitrary outcomes.
Absolutely.
You never know when you achieve your outcome because you never set a goal. So remember this, event-based goals will help you arrive to the goal at the day of the event. And we'll see you on the next episode of 5 Ideas.